So the Porsche Cayman R, what do we think about it? First impressions. Well, my first question is it really a Cayman R? Well, you've got the stripped out version, you pay an extra 5 or 10 grand, they give you an extra 15 horsepower, and then you throw the sat nav at it, the air conditioning, the PDK gearbox. You've effectively got Cayman S with some stiff suspension and an extra 10 horsepower. And I think the only thing that really gets lighter when you buy a Cayman R is your wallet, because you end up spending an extra 10 grand on the car and ending up with the same as a Cayman S. Now, I'm a bit of a fan of a manual gearbox over PDK, and I have to say the PDK is very impressive, but it does shuffle around gears constantly. It's never quite happy in any gear. As soon as you move the accelerator, you're down 3 gears and ready to go. You can cure that putting it into the manual mode, which is what I've done. Now you can cruise down the freeway in peace and quiet. So in the next day or so, we're going to go check out some B roads into the New Forest and see what the Cayman R is really like out in the real world. But first impressions, very nice. Not as quick as I expected it to be, and certainly not as light as I expected it to be. Okay, so we spent a little bit more time now with the Cayman R. I've done some B-road work, and I can definitely say it's a lot friendlier than the GT3. It does lack the power. This car with a GT3 engine in it, which we will never see, by the way, because it will be better than the GT3, would be fantastic. It just lacks a little bit of punch from about 4,000 RPM, but it howls beautifully once it gets to about 5 or 6. Now, the PDK gearbox, I was complaining a little bit before about how it's shuffling about gears, but honestly, you put it into manual, and on this B road where you're constantly down a gear, up a gear, it's fantastic. Again, I come back to the point though, it's 50 kilos heavier than the manual, and then you're adding the air conditioning, the sat nav and all that. You don't really have a Cayman R anymore. But once we find that sign that has the big black diagonal across it, pump it down a few gears and away you go. Okay, so I've come to the end of my time with a Cayman R, taking it on motorways, into the back roads, through little villages and all sorts of country lanes. So why don't we start with the bits that I like most about it. Probably the bit that I like most about it is this bit here. That's a fantastic noise that it makes, and it really does lift its skirt and get up and go, but it doesn't have the ultimate punch that you get in a larger engined 911, especially something like the Carrera S. That seems to surge and howl right through to the red line, but never feels supercar quick. Now this PDK gearbox, I was mentioning it before, it's fine in sport. You can leave it in sport, and it's very predictive. If you hit the brakes hard, it drops it down a couple of gears. It thinks you're about to hit some corners, and it's really ready there for you. You leave it in Sport Plus, however, which I'll do now. It goes straight up to the lowest gear it can find. It basically thinks you're at the Nürburgring and ready to race. So it's basically an automatic race mode. But personally, I'd still go for the manual. I think the PDK is good, it's relaxing, it's something I'd choose in a Cayman S potentially, or a 911, but you know, not in a Cayman R, and not in a GT3, not in a GT3 RS. Those things need manual gearboxes. But the handling's sublime. I think when you take it through some bends, you can hit. I mean, we've had some rain over the last day or so, and the roads have been slippery, and it's handled them fantastically well. Traction control is a little bit intrusive in the sport mode, but I think once you get it into Sport Plus, I'll just turn the thing off completely, and it's very well balanced. It's a great little car. I don't think it's worth that much more than a Cayman S. I think if I was in the market for a hardcore Porsche, for example, I'd expect something a little bit more hardcore than what you get in the Cayman R. They'd really need to step it up and really take the weight loss seriously, and maybe put a decent bit more power in it, because it just doesn't distinguish itself far enough from the Cayman S. But all in all, it is the best handling car that Porsche makes. That there is no doubt. Is it the best car that Porsche makes? No. That title still goes to the GT3. But for now, I think it's time to say goodbye with one of these.